This is AUN Radio with breaking news.
Tempers flared in Antarctica tonight. A notoriously contested oil field located in Queen Maud Land could be the site of imminent violence on this frozen tundra. John Stevens, can you tell us more?
Queen Maud Land is without a doubt one of the most oil-rich plots of land on the planet. To protect it from greedy regimes, the Antarctic Treaty was signed. However, Russia, in flagrant violation of the treaty, has set up makeshift oil wells in the last 3 to 4 years. They also constructed an offshore drilling platform, another obvious violation.
Could we say Russia's gotten greedy by doing this, John?
You would not be wrong to say that, no. Russia desperately needs oil. Their war efforts will end without access to it. Without oil, they cannot protect their borders, and they can't expand into new territories.
Thank you, John. We'll be back with more updates on this situation shortly.
I'm being told that there have been more explosions on one of the offshore oil rigs. General, what do we know about it?
It is nothing. Just Americans with their silly little toys. The US wants to bully Russia. We shall see how it goes. Russia will defend itself at all costs. We will do what we must to expose the Americans' policies. All of them. The blame should not be on Russia tonight.
Some are saying that the harsh climate will play a huge part in the outcome of this battle. Would you agree, General?
It is nothing that Russian troops cannot handle. We train them in Siberia, after all. The ice, snow, and freezing temperatures will feel like they're at home away from home. The Americans, on the other hand, they will perish in these temperatures. They lack experience.
That's all from us for now. Tune in later for more updates.
TFN. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. If you've got the time, we'll keep you informed here on Radio TFN. By your government, by the news, by the institutions that are meant to serve you. They're keeping you in the dark. It's time to wake up. It's time to uncover the true lies.
Antarctica, the symbol of mankind's commitment to peace and serenity, is the site of a violent clash between U.S. and Russian forces. As always, Dr. Nathan is here to uncover the truth and free our minds from the prison of ignorance.
I'm busting you out. On the face of it, the U.S. is accusing Russia of multiple counts of unsanctioned oil drilling on Queen Maud Land, an area well known to be protected under the Antarctic Treaty.
Yeah, satellite images released earlier today show the illegal oil fields America claims Russia has quietly installed over the past few years.
Now, America wants us to believe that they are here for a noble reason, to protect sweet Mother Earth from the rapacious Russian state. Oh, but that isn't what's going on at all, Whitley. Have you heard of the Northern Lights?
Yeah, I saw them once on a flight to Iceland. When nature puts on a display like that, God, it takes your breath away.
I hate to ruin your night. The auroras, as they're otherwise known, are far from being a natural phenomenon at all. They are, in fact, an advanced technology that informs passing alien spacecraft that planet Earth is a safe place for them to land.
What?
Yep.
Oh, kind of like those little lights on the airport runway?
Exactly like it, a very apt analogy.
Hang on, so if that's the runway, what's the airport?
Thanks to our deep throat spy in the U.S. government, TLT has learned that Queen Maud Land is, now brace yourself, the site of a long-presumed mythological Area 52 facility. ETs have been arriving at this site since as early as the 1960s, sharing technology, conducting experiments. And this isn't just one-way travel. No. We go there, too, wherever there might be.
So, Russians are drilling, it's just not for oil. I mean, they know about Area 52. They're trying to find it.
Swing and a miss. You could be forgiven for thinking that this was an attempt by the Russians to steal alien secrets, sure, but they're not stupid. They know that a species far superior to us shouldn't be seen as an enemy, but as an ally. They want to woo the aliens away from the Americans and onto their side. Obviously, the U.S. is trying to prevent that from ever happening.
Woo them how?
Well, these meetings often operate as a sort of cultural exchange, so one might open proceedings with the trading of gifts, after which both parties would be seated for the main event, maybe the spirited performance of a Russian folk dance.
Oh, I've seen those. That shit's impressive.
It is. It is hard on the hips.
What's the food situation like at one of these things?
A combination of alien and terrestrial cuisine. You typically need tasters to avoid any embarrassing fatalities.
Makes sense. Okay, our producers are screaming for us to take a break, but when we come back, I want to explore what's on this menu and figure out if that whole dairy gets aliens high thing is actually true.
Whole uncut milk.
Let's try something a little different. No more bleary-eyed mornings. Say goodbye to getting up on the wrong side of the bed. Gone are the cups of bland Insta coffee. To hell with the get up and go pills. You want energy that will power you through your day, energize the masses, or even raise the dead. New Frugen Energy. Order now through OptiShop for instant delivery. Now with the refreshing taste of a little fruit. Feel the rush.
Back to the situation in Along, India. John, what is America's goal?
Essentially, we want to clean up Russia's mess in the most effective way possible. Is it our mess? No. But we have a responsibility to India, to the world, to step in and ensure that Russian negligence doesn't cause more damage.
Understood. Now, what kind of dangers will the American troops be facing?
There is always the potential for casualties in this type of operation. For one, we're not entirely clear on what type of nuclear weapons are on the sub, and there is always our concern for the civilians who are dismantling it. All it could take is one careless mistake, and the whole town could be wiped off the map.
That certainly sounds like a tense situation. As always, we'll be back with more on the Russian sub in Along. Radio GRN.
We're back with more on the developing situation in Along. The US wants the Russian technology inside the submarine.
They take whatever they like, even things that have the words property of Russia printed on it. Russia is on Along tonight simply to reclaim what is ours. This submarine is the grave of hundreds of Russian sailors. The Americans will stop at nothing to pillage what isn't theirs. So if we have to fight them for it, so be it.
We received reports of heavy gunfire in the Western shipping yard.
Then America has failed to see reason. There will be no more stealing of Russia's superior technological secrets. There is no question what America wants here, and they can't have it.
Understandable. Thank you, General. We'll keep you updated as the action continues.
It's time to wake up. It's time to uncover the true lies.
Right, Along, India, a place known for its convenient ship recycling business, is at this very moment the site of brutal bloodshed. Dr. Nathan is with us, as always, to expand our minds.
At the center of this conflict is the mysterious Russian submarine, the Alexander. A high-tech prototype that inexplicably disappeared in 2040. Now, with its unexpected discovery in Along, we are finding out the terrible truth of what actually happened. A truth that's connected to a global conspiracy spanning 7 continents and just as many centuries. A truth that will cause 38.12% of our audience to stop listening because they are outraged and offended.
Well, TLT Terrible Truth lands in 3, 2, 1.
The Alexander functioned as a repository for the genetic material harvested from hundreds of the best and brightest humanity has had to offer over the past several hundred years. Philosophers, athletes, emperors, scientists, Nobel Prize winners. The list goes on and on and on.
Whoa. I mean, I'm guessing this is some kind of super soldier program, right?
Project Overman wasn't attempting to make a super soldier, but rather a super leader.
Huh. Okay.
The Alexander, countless fathoms under the sea, quietly traveled from country to country, dispatching operatives to shore who jacked open tombs, popped crypts, and swabbed toilet seats. Whether the target was living or dead, these operatives were ruthless and relentless in the pursuit of any genetic material they could lay their hands on. TLT knows this last mission was conducted in 2039 London.
You don't mean the famous Soane's Museum robbery? That was them? I mean, I thought that they arrested everyone involved.
They apprehended a couple of patsies. The goods the actual Russian agents stole were never recovered. They ended up back on the Alexander where the scientists could add it to their genetic soup and play God.
Fascinating and disappointing. Like, do you know if they used somatic cell nuclear transfer or induced pluripotent stem cells?
Whatever method that they used, it worked. Russia created their Overman. Well, the first several dozen attempts produced more of an Underman, but they got there in the end.
So how come this Overman never made it to dry land?
Well, a new PM came into office who valued his own life over that of his country and terminated the project. But before the kill squad could locate the sub, it went dark.
That doesn't mean they didn't escape when the sub grounded, right? I mean, they could be anywhere right now doing who knows what.
At this time, no one really knows what horrors are still on board the vessel. Regardless, the Russians will fight to the death to make sure the Alexander doesn't fall into anyone else's hands.
I can't stop thinking about all the ones who didn't make it. Those poor little super freaks just floating in beakers of brine. We'll be back after this break. Shit.
Yeah.
An update on the developing conflict in Qatar. John, we've covered America's intentions within this conflict. What is the latest on the Russians' objectives here?
The Russians have a very different agenda. They want to claim and use these deadly weapons like a sword of Damocles against the rest of the world. If we've learned anything from the events of the last few weeks, it's that the Russians will stop at nothing to gain what they want.
Well, the weapons in the cache were originally intended for the Russians, were they not? Is America not interfering with another country's affairs by going after them?
Of course not. Why would we allow a notoriously erratic country to continue purchasing weapons that they're not responsible enough to use? It's our job to intervene. It's for the good of every other country.
Thank you, John. We'll keep eyes on Qatar tonight and update you as we get more information.
Returning with more information on the conflict in Qatar. What does the US want, General? To take control of these Russian supplies for themselves?
Correct. Biological weapons are very powerful, made with finest uranium. And America wants to claim it for themselves. They know that if Russia gains control of these weapons, then they, America, will truly look incompetent. All in front of their proud nation.
So what are America's plans for these weapons?
America claims that by interfering with our plans that they are acting in everyone's best interest. While we know that America is just a selfish child in a sandpit. They want everyone else's toys, especially the ones that they have no right to.
Update, Russian troops are on the ground. Fighting has already begun.
Russian soldiers will brave the storms. We will endure, and we will do so gladly. The future of Russia depends on our success tonight.
Thank you, General. We'll return shortly with the latest news on this developing situation.
If you've got the time, we'll keep you informed here on Radio TFN. By your government, by the news, by the institutions that are meant to serve you. They're keeping you in the dark. It's time to wake up. It's time to uncover the true lies.
Intense conflict has broken out in Qatar's abandoned capital, Doha. You'll remember this was the site of a full-scale evacuation earlier this year after a series of sandstorms rendered the city uninhabitable. As ever, Dr. Nathan joins me to shed light on these dramatic events. What's going on here, Doc?
Now, before we dive into this, I just want to remind that sandstorms are the Qatari government's official reason for emptying the city.
Something the lamestream media just swallowed whole at the time.
Like a bitter pill. My inbox is full of emails from people who say that they saw strange things in the storms. And whatever these things were, it took never to be seen again. No one wants to talk about this stuff.
No one but us. So I can't imagine Doha is a fun place to be right now.
Let me put it this way. You're a soldier and you get an assignment to Doha, you start praying they forget to file the paperwork.
Yeah, abandoned cities are creepy at the best of times.
Yeah, laundry machines are still full, untouched groceries slowly expiring. You know that they say it's haunted.
Yeah, okay, I'm always down for the latest on paranormal investigation, but let's focus on the conflict for now. I mean, what brings war to the region anyway?
It's Russia specifically. Despite troop reservations, military top brass love this place. Sand wipes everything away, means they're free to tell whatever story they want. They can literally rewrite history.
The story that they're spinning at the moment is there's a fresh cache of chemical weapons buried in downtown Doha, and they need to grab it before the Americans do.
But Russia has leaked this information, misinformation, to confuse the U.S., to lure them to a specific location, a very dangerous location.
Well, you're suggesting that this is more than just a tactic to gain a military advantage?
Oh, without question. Look, as Russia approves more and more covert ops, there is a growing need for plausible deniability. This is where we're going to see the emergence of an underground trafficking network for highly trained, the word is reprogrammed soldiers. I've been online to research this, and when it comes to ordering your puppet with a gun, they've got this laid out like a menu.
Why doesn't that shock me?
And American soldiers, once their minds are reprogrammed, are basically the Wagyu beef of this market.
And we all know Russia's got form in this area, right? I mean, I'm thinking of the father of psychotronic weapons himself, Igor Smirnov, you know?
Exactly. Russia has been perfecting these mind control techniques since the Cold War. And as much as they try to deny and obfuscate, as much as the sands of Doha will erase every last clue of what they're up to, we here at TLT know the truth.
Amen to that. We'll be back shortly, provided we haven't been the victims of a violent reprogramming. In which case, I hope the show's good, because we won't have a clue.
You are free. Free to think. Free to create. Free to live. That world is here with the Daysong JQ6. With groundbreaking, deep personalization technology, the Daysong JQ6 will revolutionize your life. Enjoy fully optimized daily experiences at home or the office. Now with improved mood detection and real-time calibration to guarantee peace of mind in any situation. The Daysong JQ6. Set yourself free.
An update on Songdo. South Korea is known as the data hub of the world. John, can you tell us more about the city?
Songdo is purpose-built to welcome foreigners from all over the world, leaving their home countries behind after the collapse of the EU for the security and prosperity of South Korea. A lot of these foreigners also work for companies like Daysong. They're the tech elite, experts in their fields.
So, should the average person be worried about the collection of their data? From mega companies like Daysong.
Will, do you subscribe to any cloud computing services to back up your data, to save all of this so-called meaningful information? Then that dull stuff is already in the cloud. You have already legally given the world carte blanche access to your most personal information. Why Russia is obsessed with personal data collection is a mystery. Who cares if Daysong has your latest selfie? What sort of security threat is that?
Always appreciate your insight, John. Thank you. We'll be back with more news momentarily.
Breaking news. Gillian Webb is here to tell us more.
Russian soldiers are in Songdo, South Korea tonight. General Vonsky, what prompted this current turn of events?
Daysong Electronics collects data, and they collect everything. Personal information, names, birth dates, passwords, bank account numbers, and not legally either. They initiated a cyber attack on Russia, and now they'll sell this information to dark web companies. In modern times, whoever has the most information controls the virtual battlefield. Russia has the best military in the world. We control the physical battlefield.
But what about the virtual battlefield, General?
The virtual battlefield exists in highly advanced computers. Everyone in the world has a cell phone, yes? Those phones, they make life easier. However, they also track everything we do. It's a complete breach of Russia's defenses, both military and civilian. We cannot allow it to continue.
Thank you, General. We'll keep everyone updated as events progress.
Top story, a data farm in South Korea is under siege. Dr. Nathan is here once again to pull back the veil.
Russia and the United States are battling in Songdo. Over what? Water, oil, weapons.
All three?
Something far more valuable. Information. Likes, dislikes, browser histories, digital footprints. This unfathomable amount of data is the gold of our age, and Daysong Electronics has been mining it for decades, collecting every last byte on a series of mega servers located in, you've guessed it, Songdo.
Why we continue to let these mega corporations get away with this is beyond me. I mean, our leaders should stand up to them.
They should, but they won't. Just imagine the sheer amount of information Daysong holds, the staggering influence it exerts over our lives, curating everything we see and hear. Our politicians aren't immune from that influence any more than we are.
And look, I've said it before, but the simple fact is the truth doesn't matter. I mean, popularity trumps facts, period. To get some insider perspective on this, we've got AUN anchor William Cho on the line.
You want the truth? The mainstream media is the problem, and AUN is one of the worst examples of a corrupt media class.
Just strong words there, Will. Can't imagine your bosses are gonna appreciate you going all Howard Beale.
Oh, to hell with that. Did you know more than half of the images routinely aired by AUN have been doctored? We have no integrity. We have no morals. We cannot be trusted.
Look, I don't know how things are done over at Okay, I want our audience to listen carefully. That conversation you can still hear in the background, the one with me, Dr. Nathan, and William Cho, it's fake. That's right, none of it is real. We fed our entire back catalog, all 867 shows, into an AI program that was then not only able to generate and perfectly mimic our voices, but also have those voices appear as actual people having believable conversations. Yet take a moment. It's a scary world we find ourselves in. Right, Doc?
It's not often that I'm lost for words, Whitney.
I'm sure we can get the AI to come up with a few.
Oh, man.
But seriously, what does this all mean?
It means we can't trust anything anymore.
Except TLT.
Unless you've personally witnessed an event, how do you know it's real? Take the conflict in Songdo. Maybe Daysong has fabricated the entire thing to keep us from the truth. This is just the type of plot the Omegas would have orchestrated. They have us right where they want us. Confused, paralyzed with doubt. Our shackles are on the way and we'll never see them coming.
Well, on that depressing-ass note, we'll take a short break, after which Dr. Nathan challenges me to a game of Guess the Deepfake.
Breaking news, one of the world's largest shipping ports, Bronny Island, is in flames tonight. John, can you tell us more about the conflict there?
Singapore served as a hub between the east and west shipping routes for decades, but Russia upset this back in 2029. They redirected their shipping traffic away from Bronny Island. When the polar ice caps melted, opening the Northeast Passage year-round for the first time in world history, Russia offered incentives to tempt other countries away from Singapore. But, as ever, these attractions failed to do their job. So, Bronny Island still controls the lion's share of the world's shipping traffic.
Well, now, it would seem that Russia is attempting a hostile takeover of Bronny Island.
It seems that they are, Will. And if they succeed, they will have leverage over the economies of 70-plus countries around the world.
John Stevens, always a pleasure. We'll be back with more updates on this situation shortly.
How equipped are soldiers to deal with the flooding in this region?
Despite its popularity as a shipping route, Ronnie Island is a geological disaster just waiting to happen. Our troops know this, as do the Americans. Sure, they built this seawall, but it won't last forever. Our troops know how to cope in adverse weather. We train them in Siberia. They will be just fine.
Do you think the Americans will use the wall to their advantage?
The Americans built the wall to gain an advantage. They say it was a joint effort with Singapore, but we all know those are lies. They built it so they could control what and who could come in and out of the port. They'll either use it to lock Russian ships out of the port, or perhaps they'll open the gate and cause chaos inside the port. Singapore might have paid for it, but America is the one who will use it to control the world's shipping lanes and have a chokehold on the world.
Thank you, General. We'll return later with more information.
It's time to wake up. It's time to uncover the true lies.
And I'm Whitney Rice, and with us, as always, Dr. Nathan. We've got a killer show for you coming up, but first, the deadly situation currently unfolding in Singapore on Ronnie Island, home to one of the world's busiest ports.
Currently one of the deadliest, and that's important to remember. We'll come back to that. Listen, on the face of it, this is two armies fighting for strategic advantage in the region, something that for 99% of the world is a perfectly acceptable explanation. But TLT listeners, the 1%, they want more. They demand the truth.
Yeah, I've seen that look in your eye before, Doc. You've got something wild, am I right?
Why, of course. Ahem. There is a secret beneath Ronnie Island. Perhaps the biggest secret of our age. The secret connected to all other secrets. Beneath Ronnie Island is a compound which serves as the headquarters for the Omegas.
Now, you mentioned before that even uttering their name comes with a certain risk. I mean, they have algorithms constantly listening to all electronic communications, keeping tabs on people like us.
We are putting ourselves in grave danger, Whitney, but the truth is more important.
Yeah. For any TLT listeners unfamiliar with the Omegas, how about a quick intro?
See, this is an excellent time to mention I have a book on this very subject, which you can purchase through my website. TLT subscribers get 50% off. It actually would make an ideal gift for any member of the family. The Omegas are a very powerful group of individuals that have embedded themselves in the highest levels of society. They have one goal: to guide humanity towards the Great Accordance, an event that will see us all enslaved under a unified, totalitarian world power.
Kind of like the Illuminati.
The Illuminati were invented by the CIA. The Omegas are real. That's all covered in Chapter 11 of my book, which someone promised that they would read.
Which someone has read, because in Chapter 8, when you describe the activities that take place at the compound, I was reminded of the similarity with Bohemian Grove. But for those that don't know, the Grove was an infamous retreat in California, where presidents, tycoons, and celebrities all gathered to get their freak on and do a little, pagan sacrifice.
The Grove is the Elvis sightings compared to what's unfolding under Ronnie Island. I mentioned earlier that the U.S.-Russian conflict taking place there is significant, and that's because I believe the Omegas are in fact performing a ritual this very moment that seeks to harness the tremendous amount of dark energy being generated by all of this chaos and destruction.
What sort of ritual?
One that is attempting to access parallel universes. One's very similar to our own. Once they're there, they can gather information that will allow them to better predict the coming events in our own timeline, then influence them and bring about the Great Accordance even faster.
That's incredible. And terrifying. I wonder if TLT exists in those parallel universes.
Whitney, wherever we exist, we'll be fighting the good fight. I promise.
Okay. Not gonna cry. Let's go to a break.
We return to French Guiana. What is the situation looking like on the ground, John?
A small detachment of U.S. Marines were stationed at the base. The U.S. anticipated a Russian attack sooner or later. No-pat soldiers are now on the scene to help fill out the ranks. It won't take much for our Marines to hold off these Russian soldiers.
So, John, is America prepared to face a full-scale troop of Russians?
The Russians have a small battalion of soldiers at most, but, as ever, they are woefully underprepared. Supplemental U.S. troops are inbound to the Space Center and should be arriving, well, right about now. U.S. transport vehicles will be landing as we speak.
Thank you, John. We'll return when we have more information.
This just in, Russia has uncovered an American secret in French Guiana. The United States has taken over the presumed abandoned EUSA Space Center. We have General Vasily Vonsky standing by to tell us more.
The Americans have been building a weaponized rocket to hold their satellites. Once launched, this rocket will jettison satellites that will pose a serious threat, not just to Russia, but the rest of the world.
Is there not a treaty against countries doing exactly this?
U.S. has violated an international peace treaty, one which makes weaponized spacecraft illegal. And if you know your history, then you know full well that the Americans have violated every international agreement written. Are Russians surprised? We're not.
We'll have more news from French Guiana as it develops.
It's time to uncover the true lies.
On the show, we'll be discussing the latest conflict in French Guiana and what it all really means. Are you ready for the truth? Standing by is the king of truth himself, Dr. Nathan.
Whitney, I'm going to tell you something that might be difficult to hear. The reasons for this latest round of hostilities between Russia and the U.S., the ones you've seen repeated ad infinitum on the world's media, they're a lie. Shocking, right?
Yeah, according to the corporate shills over at AUN, we're meant to believe this is about a rocket they plan to launch into space to restore the global communications we lost in the blackout. Convinced? Yeah, me neither.
GRN's coverage at least feels like it's located somewhere in our reality. It claims that this is far from some humanitarian venture, but a clandestine attempt by the U.S. to seize control of Earth's remaining network systems. And let me confirm that both are a load of steaming BS. Now, are you ready for the cold hard truth?
I am ready. Lay it on me, Doc.
Okay. The man currently overseeing the operation in French Guiana, a U.S. General McAllister. Now, what if I told you, long before he was a general, he attended Pulaski College as an art major, and that General McAllister's roommate in said college was none other than Max Campbell.
The film director, Max Campbell?
Yeah, you can't make this up. The one and only. They remained friends long after graduation. So if Campbell, if he was out shooting a war movie, he'd usually hire McAllister as a consultant. Now this dynamic duo, this Batman and Robin, they spent 3 months together in Guam working on the film MIA Shadow State.
What? I love that movie.
I love it too. I'm with you. Can we get an image up? Yes, that's the one.
Wait, is that Chris Ryder's passport?
Only TLT has this. For those that don't know, Ryder has been the lead in several of Campbell's films. Now, look at the most recent stamp. Use it. Use a little microphone. Use your little diamond eyeglass.
What? French Guiana? Wait, 4 days ago?
I've got a source that places Campbell in the country as well. So that puts Ryder, McAllister, and Campbell all in the same location. Do you know what this means?
I mean, it's Hollywood, right? I mean, who else is it gonna be?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It is why I love working with you, Whitney. Hollywood, it creates these fictional battles, just like this one in French Guiana. So let me repeat that, all right? Just try to absorb this, all right? They create them from the bottom to the top. Why? So they can make movies and TV shows about them for years to come. We're talking trillions of dollars in ad revenue. And I'll tell you what, if this sounds a little bit crazy, then that's because Hollywood wants you to think that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound crazy to us because we know what they're capable of, right? I mean, look at Kubrick and moon landings and a bunch of other stuff. Look, truths are chipped away over a period of time, right? Before you know it, an entirely new reality is born and just accepted as legit history. I mean, now textbooks say we landed on the moon and everyone believes it.
18 months from now, you'll be watching a film or a TV show, hell, even a documentary about a war in a space center in French Guiana. And you're going to think, oh, wait a second. Didn't Dr. Nathan tell me this was going to happen? But your memory, it's going to be kind of fuzzy. So let me really clear it up. The answer you're looking for is this. Dr. Nathan did, in fact, tell you about this. I lifted the veil for you. The veil of ignorance be gone. I enlightened you tonight. And yes, gentle listener, you're welcome.
Powerful stuff, Doc. Powerful. We'll be back after this break where I'll be setting fire to my Chris Ryder classic 10-disc Blu-ray collection. Gonna be fun.
We're back to Egypt tonight. More news on the conflict. We know that Russia is already in the Egyptian desert, but John, how does the U.S. plan to combat this problem?
We believe this site is producing weapons and Russia has moved in to gain control of the production before America. Our plan is to circumvent the Russians and secure the agricultural site and the potential weapons-making facility before they can.
Now, I think it goes without saying that whoever possesses such a technology will wield an absurd amount of power.
That's exactly right. The U.S. has powerful weapons, the most powerful in the world. We don't use them, but we have them, in case we need them. But if Russia suddenly possesses weapons, like the ones found here, then the world instantly becomes a very dangerous place.
Scary stuff indeed, John. We'll be back with more at 10.
Breaking news. Gillian Webb is here to tell us more.
On a blank stretch of desert in eastern Egypt, fighting has erupted at a high-tech laboratory. On one side is the US, on the other, Russia. General, what is the end goal for these two global superpowers?
The locals refer to this place as the Wall. It has long been a place of subterfuge and great mystery for Russia. We do know, however, that Sinseco, the company who owns this land, are working to make deserts farmable. Isn't that truly a miracle?
It certainly is, yes.
Our intelligence indicates that the US have plans to infiltrate and take over the running of the production site. It seems they want to own this miracle technology for themselves. No one is safe from American greed. They will see to it that the price of food continues to skyrocket. I can almost guarantee that if another company manages to undercut them with a lower price, they will be destroyed by the US. Mark my words.
Thank you for your time, General. Stay tuned and we'll keep you updated.
Well, yet another round of hostilities erupt between the U.S. and Russia, this time at the new Delta facility in the eastern desert, Egypt. So far, we've had finger-pointing from both sides. Hopefully, with Dr. Nathan here, we can get to the truth.
In short, Russia is accusing America of trying to steal agricultural technology. An unsurprising accusation considering food security is perhaps any country's greatest concern.
Yeah, also, it wouldn't be the first time the U.S. has gone in somewhere and helped itself. I mean, what's their response?
That the facility is a front for weapons manufacturing, which Russia is using to arm its allies in the region.
So, who's telling the truth?
Both, and neither, at the same time.
You're gonna have to unpack that one, Doc.
Okay. Well, as far as either side is concerned, they're acting on the best intel they have. But we have to ask where that intel originated. In my belief, it was disseminated by the Omegas.
The world's OG puppet masters.
Yes, it is they who secretly run the new Delta facility under the guise of agritech giant Sinseco. TLT has investigated the company's records and found all the hallmarks of a dummy company seeking to hide its owner's identities.
If the Omegas are involved, it's time to worry. I mean, what are they doing at this facility? Do we know?
What were they doing? The facility is already abandoned, probably being set up somewhere else this very moment. It's a classic smokescreen tactic. While the world's press is consumed by the latest superpower showdown, they're too busy to look elsewhere. Specifically, at the 3 NOPAT ships that recently went missing in the Mediterranean, an incident that has received almost no coverage.
Are NOPATs being trafficked to build the new complex?
If only that were the extent of the whole. Sinseco has always been highly secretive about this miraculous process by which it transforms even the most arid desert into a plentiful pasture. It appears that NOPATs are the secret ingredient.
I'm sorry, when you say secret ingredient, you mean?
I mean ingredient. Their bodies are literally being used as fertilizer.
No wonder security at New Delta was so extreme. It wasn't to keep people out, it was to keep them in.
Just imagine how many other companies the Omegas secretly own, each committing countless atrocities.
You know, I'm just gonna say it. I never did like Sinseco products. I mean, their smashed avocado on rye is way overpriced. In fact, all their stuff is. And they say it's for everyone, but who can afford it but the rich? You okay, Doc?
The smashed avocado is made by Sinseco?
Yeah, guess that's kind of gross now you think about it, huh? Dr. Nathan's not, something's come up. We'll be back after a short break. The bathroom's that way!